follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Good to have you on board. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort Casino is a spot in this hour. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll go over the best and worst ROI teams in Major League Baseball, some streaky teams with first fives. And bottom of the hour, VSiN host Will Hill on NFL futures. Here, we head out to the Progressive guest line to talk some college football as friend of the show and professional sports bettor Paul Stone joins the program. Good afternoon, Paul. How are you today?
Oh, man, doing well, Mitch. We've got college football that counts next month, and looking forward to that. And just want to quickly give a shout out to all our veterans with tomorrow being the 4th of July. Certainly represents our nation's independence, but also serves as a reminder for those who have stood in harm's way, and some made the ultimate sacrifice. So we thank those servicemen and women and their families.
I can't believe when you fast forward to next month, that week now, where college football begins, how many games we have throughout the entire week. It is absolutely littered with contests pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some really great games. I mean, first of all, you get Farmageddon over there in Dublin, Ireland on Saturday, August 23rd. And then the games kick up that Thursday, and don't have the schedule right in front of me. But I'll tell you a big game. We've talked about it a little bit. A lot of games on that Thursday night, the 28th. And then on the 29th, man, there's a big game in Waco, Texas, Auburn at Baylor. And then, of course, Saturday's schedule, having Texas going to Ohio State and LSU to Clemson and on and on. Just a great schedule, the first week 0 and week 1.
Okay, here we go. Some of your recommendations in Conference USA this year. I'm looking at what happened with FIU last year. They were 3-5 in league play. They were 4-8 overall. They were 0-6 on the road. The win total is 5.5. Paul, what do you want to do with it?
I mean, looking at Florida International, Mitch, they lost a lot in the portal. They lost 7 players to Power 4 teams. And if the Power 4 comes calling at FIU, you can better believe those are their very best players. So they lost 7 of their players to Power 4 teams, 3 of those being first team All-Conference USA selections last year. So their roster really got diminished there. They've got Willie Simmons coming in. They've got a first-year head coach. This will be his first year there in Miami. FIU only 13-35 the last 4 years overall. And you mentioned their 4-8 record last year. They've actually only won 4 games in each of the past 3 seasons. So, looking at it from the other perspective, they obviously need 6 wins to go over. And I just think under the current conditions, man, it is really tough for me to see FIU clearing that 5.5 win total hurdle that they're facing there. I'm not going to get into each and every personnel loss, but they lose their top 2 receivers. Both of those guys going to Georgia Tech, and that includes Eric Rivers, who had almost 1,200 yards of receiving last year. And then defensively, they lose their top 8 tacklers, not all through the portal, but their top 8 tacklers from a year ago no longer in the program. One of those guys, linebacker Travian Barnes, he had 129 tackles last year, first team All-Conference. He's off to Baylor of the Big 12. And then 4 other FIU defenders, in addition to Barnes, have departed for Power 4 destinations. That includes 3/4 of their starting secondary. So I just look at these personnel losses, and they are overwhelming. They got a first-year coach. They've only won 4 games in each of the past 3 seasons. I like FIU to go under 5.5 regular season wins, available -115 there at FanDuel.
Very good. How about an over now? And Tony Sanchez with New Mexico State. He was a longtime high school coach here with Bishop Gorman, took the UNLV job. He had the Fertitta brothers behind him and all that money. It didn't work out. So then he took over at New Mexico State, had a down year last year after what Jerry Kill did as well. What do you want to do with New Mexico State to win total 4.5?
I think Coach Sanchez would have done better if Diego Pavia would have stayed at New Mexico State. Yeah, I'm just kind of kidding there. Right. But, when we're handicapping regular season win totals, obviously we're going to talk about a team's schedule, not only who they play, but where they play and when they play, all three of those things really important. And I really like New Mexico State's scheduling dynamics this year. They opened the season with home games against FCS Bryant, and then in week 2 they host Tulsa, one of the worst FBS teams in the entire 136 team structure. So they look like they're going to start out 2-0 against a schedule ranked by Phil Steele the 132nd toughest out of 136 teams. So not a very difficult schedule there. I look at their schedule as a whole. I make numbers on these games. Obviously, once we start getting game results, these numbers will start fluctuating. But as of today, I've got New Mexico State favored in 5 games and fairly short underdogs in 2 others. So they've got a lot of winnable games. Conference USA predictably kind of bunched up. Teams are clustered together, kind of difficult to make a case for one over the other. But I look at New Mexico State, looking at my power ratings and a couple of other guys that I reference, and New Mexico State has a similar power rating to these 3 teams, Missouri State, Kennesaw State, and Middle Tennessee State. Their power ratings all about the same. New Mexico State hosts all 3 of those teams. So they get Missouri State, Kennesaw State, and Middle Tennessee there in Las Cruces. New Mexico State figures to be favored by a field goal or more in those 3 games. Certainly their roster plays a role in this, and I really like their upgrade at the quarterback position. This is a crazy stat. But last year, New Mexico State played 4 different quarterbacks that threw at least 18 passes on the year. So they kind of had musical chairs at the quarterback position. 4 guys threw 18 passes or more. None of them completed 47% of their passes. So they were abysmal in the passing game, to put it mildly. They're going to have an upgraded quarterback this year. I really like this guy, Fresno State, Montana transfer, Logan Fife. A guy who started 14 games at those 2 schools over the course of his career. Not a real dual threat guy, but he can run it a little bit. Like Fife, top 2 receivers for New Mexico State back in the fold as well. So he'll have his top 2 targets back. I think New Mexico State's going to win 5 or more games. I like them to go over their total of 4.5 regular season wins, minus 132 there at FanDuel.
Very good. Paul Stone, our guest, professional sports bettor. He's on the Progressive Guest Line talking about best bets in Conference USA. Which team did you bet to win it outright then, Paul?
You know, with the roster turnover in Conference USA, and we've talked about it some, I mean, these teams, so-called group of 5 conferences, are just getting rated by the Power Four as they lose their best players from year to year. And with the roster turnover, you know, it makes it difficult picking a league winner. Liberty, I think they're the deserved favorite, but they lost their quarterback, Caden Salter, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the entire nation. He's off to Colorado with the Big 12. The best price I see on Liberty, plus 150. That's just too short of a price. The price simply isn't right. So I went one team down the board and looked at the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. And looking at Western Kentucky, first of all, the thing that kind of jumps out at you is the fact they lost a lot of personnel as well. They lost their starting quarterback, their leading rusher, their top 4 receivers, lost several starting offensive linemen. But despite those losses, they also added some key pieces, and that certainly starts with their new quarterback, Maverick McIver, a guy who transfers in from Abilene Christian University. He threw for over 8,000 yards in 4 years there at ACU. If you remember that game last year, the season opener, they went to Lubbock and played Texas Tech in a back-and-forth game. Texas Tech survived that game, just a single overtime. Texas Tech 52, Abilene Christian 51. Maverick McIver in that game threw for 506 yards. So this guy can sling that football a little bit. If you go back a ways, his dad, Rick McIver, starting quarterback at the University of Texas back in the early 80s. But I like the addition of McIver at quarterback. They also bring in a top receiver from the FCS level, that being Matthew Henry of Western Illinois. He's a Dade County guy from Miami, Florida. Last time I checked, they produced some pretty good football players down there, and I think Henry is one of those. He had 64 catches for 1,211 yards last year. So I like that potential McIver to Henry connection there. And then they also return their left tackle, Marshall Jackson. He's an all-conference selection last year, veteran guy, be protecting McIver's blind side. I like Western Kentucky to win Conference USA. I'm seeing plus 400 at both FanDuel and BetMGM.
90 seconds, sir. This is one of the most creative props I've seen. It's at BetMGM. Total Conference USA teams to win 6+ regular season games. You think it's mispriced. What did you do?
I do. BetMGM, first of all, they operate in 20 states in the District of Columbia. They do operate in Nevada. So when you're out to sign up for one of the contests, if you don't have it in your state, you'll be able to find this prop then. But Conference USA, the number of teams to win 6+ regular season games, the total of teams, 5.5. The over, heavily juiced to the over, minus 250, under 5.5 Conference USA teams to win 6 games at plus 200. And I just look at this league, and first of all, half of the teams in the league, in my opinion, I'm looking at this, first of all, from a conference game standpoint. Half of the league, or 6 teams, are going to go 4-4 or better. And then of those 6, they're all going to have to win. The 4-4 teams are going to have to win 2 of their 4 conference games, non-conference games, rather. And I just don't think they're going to get there. These teams got to play some really tough non-conference opponents. You can look at the schedule, the type of teams they play. Last year they had 10 teams in the league. The year before that, they had 9. They now have 12 with the addition of Missouri State and Delaware. But they've only had 4 teams win 6 games or more in the last 2 years. I don't think they're getting to 6 from 4. I like under 5.5 Conference USA teams to win 6 games or more at plus 200 at BetMGM.
You're the man. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
Thank you, guys.
There you go. Paul Stone, MLB ROI next.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
One game going on as we speak, Major League Baseball. Astros playing in Colorado against the Rockies. Colorado was leading by a score of 5-3 going to the 7th. 2 runs by the Astros. Pauly tied it up. We're now knotted at 5 apiece, bottom of the 7th. In play, Houston minus 115 from what I'm seeing, and the total's down to 12.5. You want to take a bet on the over right now? Although we're in the 7th, this thing goes to extras and Coors?
Probably maybe don't need extras.
Might not.
Yeah. Incredible how the Astros are doing this. Running away with the division. Pitching staff's been so good.
Yeah.
Hasn't mattered who's been hurt either. A lot like the Dodgers. Got to respect the organization. Strong.
This is really incredible what's going on with the Dodgers.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. All things considered.
Yep. All right. Top team ROI. This is also a great story. The Angels, number 1, flirting with 500.
Crazy.
Maybe talking playoff spot.
Huh?
You're up 11 units and change on the Angels, and right behind them, the Astros. $100 bet on every game. You're up 10 units on Houston, followed by the Blue Jays, the Red Hot Tigers, and then peekaboo, the Miami Marlins, who won again today. Lost last night, but won today and took 2 out of 3 against the Twins. They have suddenly won 9 of 10, and they are top 5 now in ROI. No surprise, the worst team, Rockies, down 32 units and change. Will they lose 130 games? Atlanta, down 20 units. I'm with you. I don't think it's happening. They're going to run out of time. There's too many teams to jump over. Not that good. Another injury yesterday. Elder's going, who's been batting practice. I like that over against Soriano tonight. I don't think it's going to happen with Atlanta.
Yeah.
Get to 500. That's the first thing.
First, it was Sale who went down with the injury. That's massive enough, right? Although it's not like doomsday because he's going to come back at some point, probably sooner than later. But then you couple that with the elbow fracture to Schwellenbach, who's having a really good season. And they buried this hole so deep, that's going to be very difficult to get out of.
White Sox, third worst ROI, down 14 units, and then the Orioles. Biggest disappointment in baseball? Has to be. You were the 1 seed 2 years ago. You made the playoffs last year. Last place.
Are they worse than the Braves?
Yes. Yeah, last place and on pace to lose 95 games, down 13 units and change. And what the Twins? Did the Twins have like a 12 or 14 game winning streak or something?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're down 10 units. They're still, even with that long winning streak, 5th worst ROI. Quantrill, number 1 in ROI for pitchers. The Marlins are only 9-7 when he starts, but they're up 9 units. He's been a huge dog in several of the wins. Ray up 743, 7 units and change. Mention how well the Giants have done in his starts. And Baz up 678 with the Rays. Freeland, worst ROI, down 925. Flaherty, blown up again last night, lit up, down 833. Paddock, 8 units. Keller, 788. Severino, down 755. Overs, Blue Jays, 48-35-3. Seattle, 47-35-4. Dodgers, 48-37-2. Top under team, no surprise. It's been this way the whole season. Texas, 55-31-1 to the under. Plenty of those at home as well. Royals, 52-24-2 to the under. Cannot hit. 41 times held to 2 runs or fewer. Rockies, 50-34-2. Yankees, 49-34-3.
Well, that 16-game under streak for
That's
them
right.
certainly helped that out.
Yeah.
I'll give you some first 5 trends, Pauly. The Braves, how about this? In their last 8 games, the Braves are 1-6-1 in the first 5, but that's only the beginning. They've scored 4 total runs. 4 total runs in their last 8 games in the first 5. That's completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And how about this? 5 games in a row versus a lefty, which is the only time that's happened for a team. I can't imagine that happens more than, 2-3 times a year for any team?
Yeah.
5 games in a row they faced a lefty. The Rockies are actually they were winning today, so check that. Now 2-7-5 in their last 14. On the year, they are 33 games below 500 in the first 5. The Royals are 3-7-1 in their last 11. Nationals, no good, 8-14-6 last 28. The Brewers are 11-4-2 in their last 17, and the D-backs are 8-3-2 in their last 13. Some trendy K props. We're talking about opposing pitchers now going against these teams. 25-8. Last 33 starting pitchers over against Detroit. That's obviously more than a month.
Yeah.
22-6 over against Cleveland. Last 5 starting pitchers have gone over against the Twins. The Twins all year long have been like one of, if not the best under team for opposing K-props. Not in this current form. 7-3 over against Seattle. 5-1 over against the Rangers. And now teams that are not striking out in recent days anyway. Opposing pitchers are currently on an 8-2 under run with their K-prop against Boston. 8-3-1 under against KC. And 6-1-1 under against Milwaukee. So what'd you make last night? Mizorowski getting blasted by the Mets.
Good. Well, the walks continue to be a problem, and then home run derby happened. So that was disappointing and surprising to me.
Very much so.
After being so good to start. And
I'm glad I didn't go nuts with the game because it reeked.
Beat Skeens and then blown up. I mean, the Mets took care of him. I want to see the bounce back. I want to see the next start as well. Another day, another scandal. Luis Ortiz under investigation by MLB after a betting integrity firm flagged a pair of pitches that had received unusual gambling activity. Sources told ESPN. Ken Rosenthal on it, Jeff Passan on it as well. He's on leave through July 17th. The alert referenced action on his first pitch to be a ball or a hit batsman in 2 games. June 15th against the Mariners, June 27th against the Cardinals. The bottom of the 2nd against Seattle, top of the 3rd against St. Louis. He threw a first pitch slider that was well outside the zone. The alert on Ortiz's first pitches flag bets in Ohio, New York, and New Jersey happened. Betting on the result of first pitches offered by some books. The risk-reward angle, as a guy from San Diego, Padres infielder, did it last year and was banned for life. You've also had several guys in the minor leagues do it, hit with severe suspensions. We just had the Beasley incident that happened a couple days ago, and then although Shams reported he's been cleared, someone reached out to me and said may not be the case that Rozier has been cleared. But here's another one.
He might still be in trouble.
So yeah, right. This is wild that this happens, and just of all things, how obvious do you want to be here with the bettors?
It's so
I would
specific.
hope, you said it earlier too. I hope they weren't taking significant money on this.
Well, that's going to be the key to the whole story, right? Because if it comes out that Ortiz and whoever he was in cahoots with were able to get down like Jonte Porter-sized bets, then that's a major problem. And I look at it's almost like certain Facebooks. I'm not even on Facebook. Certain sports books are trying to set traps for people. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're a VIP. Oh, you want to get down 50,000 on under Jonte Porter? More than that? No problem. There's no way you would ever get involved with the actual player that you're going to be betting on, right? Okay. A person who we have known for a long time, has been in this racket for as long as I've known him, said that we all laughed at Al Leiter when we played that audio earlier. Now, what he said in front of Congress back in 2018 still rings, it's preposterous. Like, hey, I'm going to drive 4 hours to Borgata, and then I'm going to make another drive another 4 hours, and I'm going to get down $5,000 at each of these places on a ball or a strike, and I'm going to, at the end of the day, I'll have $500,000 on a bet. You're like, what are you talking about, pal? Like, that's never going to happen. That's why I can't wait to see what's going to come out with these bets. But this person told me we need to go back to Nevada only, and that prop bets are begging to get manipulated. We've seen it. It's only going to get worse. And this is what's going to happen. Eventually, these people who are in on it with pro athletes and the dummies who are, just that stupid to do it, as a pro player, not only are you going to flush your career down the toilet, but prop betting, you're going to ruin prop betting for everybody everywhere. Because eventually, those will probably be taken off the board. At this rate, next year?
Well, or can't bet unders, right? But, as David Purdom said, just make the limits low or say what your limits are going to be. And your point about, trapping someone, you could find out who had the information with the Draymond Green thing and the Mikal Bridges stuff. Where I'm opening tip, I'm coming out of the game right after. And people who are coming in and pounding those bets with the same game parlays and betting everything under as well. So you would think you can't get down anything significant on that. And why? Who would bet that of all things for a decent amount of money? The first pitch of the inning to be either a ball or a hits batsman.
Well, I mean, to your point that you've been saying all day, right? You want to set off alarms? There you go. That's going to do it as much as any other bet that you can come up with.
Betting on sports, why not try the races? First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of races every day. Top tracks across the U.S. and around the world. Sign up firstbet.com, promo code VSIN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days. Up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today.
What's worse, in your opinion, if these bets were for $5 over and over and over again, or if they were for like $5,000?
Well, 5,000 for the books. Yeah, for the books allowing that and taking it.
Sure, but if imagine if they're really small for Ortiz's sake.
Yeah, sure, that could be. Yeah, or maybe just sitting around with a couple buddies and talking about this,
right?
And it's like, okay, second one I'll let one go. Again, the first one, Mitch retweeted. The first one's innocuous. The second one, the announcer does the Bob Uecker, just a bit outside.
All right, VSiN host Will Hill on the program coming up next. The NFC will be total Armageddon if his picks and bets come in. Find out who he's betting next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll go inside Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria. Long shot bets, pizza money, nice payoffs. I have a cross-sport parlay Pauly that pays more than 40-1 at that time. Here we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Will Hill joins the program now, VSiN host, and he is all over the Pro Football Betting Guide at vsin.com/subscribe, available now. Will, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Boys, what's going on? Happy to be with you. I think the last time I was with you was during March Madness. Queens 50-1, up 10 with 8 minutes to go in the semifinal. Not that I'm still bitter about it by any means.
No, why would you be? Only 3.5 months later at this point. You are expecting a lot of carnage in the NFC. I was going over your picks today, looking at the guide. I'm like, my God, there's one bomb. There's another, and a third one. Let's begin with a popular team here at Circa, but they're behind two very popular teams in the Rams and the 49ers. You like the Cardinals to win the NFC West. Tell us why.
Yeah, I think their offense was fine last year, and usually offense is stickier than defense. Usually the offense carries over more to the next season just because you have the quarterback. And a lot of times you have the same coach. I think they did a really good job in a draft. Now, it gets dangerous trying to sit here and evaluate these drafts because all of these teams had chances to pick all of these players. I understand that. But they focused in on a weakness. First of all, they had Sweat from Philly, who had a great Super Bowl, was in the mix for MVP, halfway through. But Will Johnson, Walter Nolan, Birch, a couple guys from Ohio State, I think they're going to have a totally different defense. And like I said, 7th in yards per play on offense last year. If they can get to top 10, top 12 defensively, I think the offense carries over. I think this is like a 10, 11 win team possibly. And they were 6-4 last year. They ran out of steam, but they played hard for Gannon these 2 years for him. They really played well. They've been a plucky team that first year. Everyone thought they were going to go winless or maybe win one game, and they were in just about every game 2 years ago in 2023. So I think they're live. I understand San Francisco, easier schedule, and that is an easy schedule, but we'll see. They've lost some pieces. We'll see what Purdy is now that he doesn't have as much around him. Darnold in Seattle, new system. Can he do it again? We'll see. And then maybe at some point, the Rams with Stafford, they run out of steam. So I think it's a division where 10-11 can win it. And I think Arizona at close to 5-1 is a decent bet. But I think if you're going to go that route, Gannon at 20-1 is a much better bet. Just because, let's just paint the scenario where the Cardinals do win the division and win 10-11 games. Gannon's going to be on the short list of guys for Coach of the Year. They didn't make the playoffs last year or the year before. He's going to get a lot of the credit for it. So I think Gannon at 20-1, if you want to just, you're taking half of it on the Cardinals for the division, half it on Gannon, I think makes a lot of sense.
Okay, let's stick in the NFC then. You like the Panthers. We had Wes Reynolds earlier. He likes the Panthers. You like the Panthers. Why is this going to be their year?
Yeah, same sort of thing where I think the defense is just, it's not going to carry over from year to year as much as offense does. And I think their offense was actually pretty legitimately decent the second half of last year once Young was reinstated. I mean, you look, they scored 44 points against Atlanta, the final weekend of the season. That was a game Atlanta needed, remember. They scored 38 points against the Cardinals. We're averaging 6.5 yards per play in those games. The Bucks, the Chiefs, the Eagles, they played point flip games against them. They really should have beaten Philly. Philly, they had the ball down 6. They dropped the pass. I think they were legitimately spunky on offense. And to me, the defense will be better just because they didn't get a lot of big names, but they spent a lot of their free agency currency on defense. And, they obviously drafted McMillan with the 8th pick, which is going to help their offense. I just think that, Tampa, it's really remarkable. Tampa has won this division every year since 2020. The only year they didn't win it, or the last time they didn't win it, was the COVID year in 2020 when they won the whole thing. I just think Carolina can be better defensively. I think the Young resurgence is real. And I think the fact that they've got a coach in Canales and a quarterback with Young, I just think that's a division where you can, again, win it with 10, 11. I don't think there's a dominant team there. Tampa's good, but they're not dominant. So I think the 4-1 payout on them is the best bet in terms of that division.
A couple of unique props. So I like the fewest wins prop. Cleveland in the running, Saints. A lot of people think the Giants are going to be bad. Could the Giants be the worst team in the league, and why you like under 5.5 wins?
It's the schedule. I mean, that schedule is brutal. First off, they have a temperamental coach. So if things don't get off to a good start, and look at that schedule, things probably will not get off to a good start. You got a guy in Dable who can be very combative, confrontational. Who knows if he's there after week 3, week 4, and we saw how that went last year with the Jets firing Saleh in the middle of the season. Things went off the rails. I mean, just read off the schedule. I know it's a dangerous exercise to do here in June, July, but at Washington, at Dallas, Chiefs, Chargers, the Eagles, all the 3 NFC North teams, at the Patriots. I mean, it's a brutal, brutal schedule. And I just think things get off the rails early. Maybe they go to a young quarterback. And if they don't beat the Saints, and that's a game that could be a swing game because the Saints are in the mix for that pick too, for fewest wins too. That game's in New Orleans. If they ever lost that game, you're really live. I think this could be like a 2-3 win season where they just blow things up completely. I understand people like Carter, people like the draft. I get that. But to me, that schedule is just going to eat them up.
Oh, yeah. That could be 0-9 if they lose that Saints game.
Absolutely.
That is brutal. I think you bet this at DraftKings. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a creative prop as well. They haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. The win total is 8.5. You get Metcalf, you get Rodgers, you get Ramsey. Steelers to be eliminated in the wild card round, plus 330.
Yeah, I'm done fading Tomlin. I'm done thinking this is going to be the year he goes under 500. If you can't beat him, join him. Plus 330, I think, is good value. They've this bet would have cashed for in the last 5 years, and I think they have enough defense, enough in terms of culture to get them into playoffs to win 9 or 10 games. The problem is they don't have enough upside to win 11, 12 games and win a division, which means what? It means you're on the road and start the playoffs against Mahomes and Allen and Lamar, and they'll be an underdog in that spot. So if they just run back the same kind of year they've been having, they sneak into the playoffs, 9 or 10 wins, they're on the road wild card, you're in a good spot with the plus 330. I think that's really good bang for your buck. And, at some point, maybe he's going to have a 6-win season, but I've been thinking that the past couple of years at this point, you know what, you just give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to win his 9 or 10 games and get his doors blown off once he gets to the playoffs.
Okay, so last year the NFC North was, one of the best divisions we've ever had in the history of the NFL. I mean, it compares to any other division in any other year. The Lions still are very talented. Packers are good. I like the Vikings. But you're going to make a case for the Bears. You think their offseason was good enough to, overcome the other 3 teams in that division?
Yeah, I love the coach. I think Loveland, you saw what he could do at Michigan without a passing game, without a quarterback. I think the offensive line is much better, and that was really an issue last year. If you're going to see it from Caleb Williams, you're going to see it this year. And look, Detroit's lost the coordinators, lost a lot on the offensive line. Minnesota, I know this is a Viking fan, they never do it 2 years in a row. You have to go back to 08, 09, the last time they were in the playoffs 2 years in a row. They can never back it up with another good season. Who knows? Last year they had a lot of fortune in terms of close games, injuries, turnovers. I don't know that they duplicate it, even though I like the roster. I like the coach. Green Bay has a lot to prove in terms of beating good teams. So I think Chicago is very live here. Like I said, I love the coach. I like the draft. I like the offseason. You can't be worse than Eberflus with disaster on Thanksgiving last year and all the clock management issues. They're going to be much more buttoned up. And they're just a well-rounded team. I think the defense is going to be solid. And that's, just a really solid roster. I think there's some enthusiasm with them last year, and people are afraid to get teams.
Thanks, Will. Will, thank you. Cut up a little bit. You can follow him on X. He's at Not the Will Hill, VSiN host, and also host of the podcast called Shoulda Bet More as well.
If he's right with this carnage and chaos, imagine what these tickets could pay. Rams, Packers, Commanders, Vikings all miss. Yep. Cowboys make. Arizona wins a division. Carolina wins a division. Chicago wins a division.
I can see one of them. I can see maybe 2. All 3 would be anarchy in the NFC. Right? And I can't get there with the Bears.
No, I can't either.
I can't do it.
Or the Cowboys.
Yeah, he has... The Rams win total is 9.5. Mm-hmm. Various juice. I love that team this year. He has that team, as you said, the Packers, Washington, Minnesota. I may have left somebody off the list too, by the way, to all miss. And we're getting text right now and tweets, I should say, about people who are doing NFL division round robins. You can probably do that as well at some spots to make or miss the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about the straight parlays,
interesting.
The round robins.
Yeah. And then Joe Osborne tweeted one out today, which it wasn't that bad. It was Dallas, the Jets. Okay, Cleveland, Giants, Saints, Jets, Cowboys, all to miss. Pays plus 140.
Okay.
That's good. And
so
that's
you find
FanDuel.
the dregs of the league? And...
That's at FanDuel, yeah. That's fun stuff you can do too, right? And I talked to our guy, Richie. He's talking with his MIT guys. He makes the Bills like a $7. Should be minus $7.
I've been saying that for 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
$260 is.
He thinks minus 260 is a gift, and I don't blame him.
No, that's probably. I love doing division parlays in specifically baseball and the NFL. Mm-hmm. The Bills will be on every single one of them. In fact, I have them on a bet that I have coming up. Well, that's actually not to win the division, I don't think, but that's on the pizza money bet that I have today.
Yeah, good job, guys. Thanks for sending them in. Looking forward to this. This is a fun segment now.
Yeah, that's coming up weekly basis here. We'll break bread. Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria, long shot bets, pizza money, pay a nice chunk of change. And again, this cross-sport parlay. I'll talk you through this. I think it makes some sense at higher than 40-1 next year on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Do you like the service at Mitch and Pauly's?
I don't tip. You don't tip? No, I don't believe in it.
Leave us a tip on your way out.
You don't tip. You don't tip. What do you mean you don't tip? You don't believe in it.
The guys crack open the jar and see what the listeners have left behind.
So what, no eating now?
It's time for the tip jar at Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria.
Mama's Pizza, the only place where your pizza money always gets you a win. Check them out, mamaspizzas.net. Mama's East Coast style pizza has been recognized as Dallas-Fort Worth's best pizza or pizza of choice for the past 3 decades. The Mama's Pizza on IG, the best pizza in Texas. How about the best pizza around since 1968? That crust is on steroids. Incredible. Look at what I retweeted as well earlier today. Slices are huge, loaded with cheese. More on that coming up. Great to have Mama's Pizza aboard and mamaspizzas.net. Let's eat.
Here is the 5-leg crossport parlay that I put in just this week. Pauly, stop me when it sounds like it's getting ridiculous. I wanted like a quick payoff, so I put on Sinner to win Wimbledon. It's probably a 2-man race between Sinner and Alcaraz. I could also do the same game parlay or crossport parlay and put Alcaraz on there as the other leg, but I'm going to go with Sinner to win it.
Yep.
I have Nafisa Collier to win WNBA MVP. Not great the other night, but body of work.
Okay, yep.
She's minus $5 as we speak at the Westgate to win the award. I have Dodgers to win the National League. I have the Bills to be the 1 seed in the AFC. With that division, again, I'm making the case that I want to lay 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 games. They might go 6-0 in their division. And Penn State to make the playoff.
Phil Steele magazine, I got it. It's out. His top 25 preseason poll, Penn State number 1.
I think
Clemson number 2. That's like Thanksgiving. There's a lot on the plate. I like it. Good stuff.
Plus 42.30, I made that.
Good stuff.
I could come back in and again. The longest shot on there is actually the Bills. I got that at plus 275 on that leg. But the one that might be the most difficult is Sinner to win Wimbledon, because if he loses to Alcaraz, it's a dead ticket. But I really like. I thought this through. I looked at a bunch of different sports, and I'm like, that makes sense. So I put that in at BetMGM earlier in the week.
Good job. I didn't have it. No. Thanks to everyone who sent these in. You started earlier yesterday, and this is a great mix of stuff too. Like Daniel, Arch Manning Heisman. There's a lot of tickets that people send in with Arch Manning Heisman. Arch Manning Heisman, Rams Super Bowl, Clark MVP, WNBA. 827 to 1. Whoa, mama.
I actually like the first 2 more than I like Clark to win the MVP at this point.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Missed too many games. I would actually, Dan, if you're listening right now, I would look at doing that with Manning and the Rams and like other MVP players.
Yeah.
Throw on Collier, see what that pays. Throw on Alyssa Thompson, see what that. You want to get nuts?
Sure. But it's great to see these when everyone sends them in, too. And the real Mr. ACL sent a bunch in.
Yeah.
He's got one that I think it's like, here it is. It's $25 to pay $20,000. He's got 2 in already. OKC title, Florida Stanley Cup, Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. He did another one, I think. Same 2 are already in, and he did the 49ers to win the Super Bowl.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Baker Mayfield, Offensive Player of the Year, 150 to 1. Between that and MVP, it's getting a lot of hype. Why not? I think it'd be a store for a big year, and they could win 11, 12 games. That's why I made the case for Bulls Coach of the Year, 40 to 1.
First of all, I love his Twitter handle, Fairway Fred 62 low. Good golfer.
Yeah.
Don't want to be betting against him on the links.
Hey, Fred.
This is from Seth. The Mercury to win the WNBA title. You already have my attention. They can absolutely do this. They're very, very good. They have dominated. Well, they did against New York last week. Sinner to win Wimbledon. Okay, clearly if I bet them on mine, I like this one too. And Aubert to win the Open, 328 to 1. Again, my recommendation would be, I don't like to do this with golfers because, first of all, picking a golfer or betting on the golfer to win, only one of them to win a tournament, is exceedingly difficult to do. That's why people bet 4, 5, 6, 7 guys every single week. Mm-hmm. Seth, do this if you want, if you have the money, Mercury, Sinner, and then add some other golfers to win the Open. Because if you hit that golfer, if Sinner comes in to hit Wimbledon, then you hit the golfer, my God, you can get super creative then in the WNBA at huge prices.
And some of these astronomical payouts in terms of the odds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't that one lose? I saw that one on X too. Man City, I thought they got beat the other day. Yeah, he had that one wrong. Florida, winner, college basketball.
That one that's already in?
Yeah, the middle one, yeah.
I don't know
the top one lost. The top one lost. Florida to win the men's basketball title. De La Cruz triples, the lead in triples, and the Bills win the Super Bowl. That pays that much?
Well,
over 1,000 to 1?
So if this means, if it goes back to, because I haven't seen this ticket, if it was Florida to win this previous title in April, then yeah, of course. Plus De La Cruz to lead the league in triples must have been around 12 to 1. I'm going to see right now where he's at with that.
All right.
He has some work to do.
That's true. It depends on when he bets Florida. I mean, there was a monster price out there before the season, and still 20, 40 to 1 on the Gators, whatever. Another one with Florida while you're looking. And then Florida to win it all, and Guardians under 82 wins, 18 to 1. Based on, they've lost 6 in a row, and then the Ortiz debacle today.
Well, by the way, De La Cruz is not going to win triples.
Oh, he's not?
He has 2. 2 guys have 9. Another guy has 8. Some guys have 7. So it would take a miracle for that one to get in.
That's a big upset that he only has 2.
I know.
That's surprising. Keep them coming. Tweet at us, ftm@vsin.com, the email as well. Thanks for sending them in the last couple days. Good job with the pizza place. Chiefs to finish second in the division.
Okay.
Plus 240.
I can see it.
Yeah.
And by the way, so he's not getting nuts here, right? He's not going to go Broncos first, Chiefs 2, second, Chargers for what? He's just saying, nope, I think they lose the division, but there's no way they finish in 3rd or 4th place, so give me the plus 240 and then they finish in 2nd place.
All right. I like this one a lot. These 2 are good. This is from Kyle. Bills win the AFC, Cavs win the East, Golden Knights win the West. 102 to 1.
Well, this is a man after my own heart because he's betting conferences.
That's true, right.
So we're completely on board.
Great call.
At 102 to 1?
Yeah.
Like, which one do you not even like?
I love the first 2.
Oh man, I'm gonna tail that. I think that is not bad at all.
I wonder if we bet it before the Marner news and the odds
here.
moved.
I'll try to put one together right now. See what it pays.
Okay, another one. Cavs to win the East. I think they should be a good sized favorite. I don't trust the Knicks, even with Brown coming in as well. Cavs won 64 games, all the injuries in the East. Bills win the AFC again. Knights win the Cup. Tigers win the American League. Oh, that's your big boy there. Oh, that's a monster. 63,000 to 1?
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
66,000 to 1.
That's great. That's from Nate. Go get him, Nate. That's a good one. And one more page. Most regular season wins. Houston and Tampa. Houston 50 to 1. Tampa 170 to 1. Not crazy. Not crazy. I know the Dodgers are scary. They keep winning games and guys are hurt.
Yeah.
But Houston keeps winning. Staff's ridiculous. Tampa right in the mix as well. Stewart, WNBA MVP, 75 to 1. Is she currently 12?
She dropped there's no way she's 75 to 1 anymore.
Yep. So Bills Mafia put that together. And Rory to win the Masters. Florida Panthers win the Cup. Dodgers win the World Series. 195 to 1, Michael. He's got the Dodgers to win the World Series. Almost 200 to 1. There you go. That's how you cook it up. Get in a pizzeria, baby.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful.
Took a bad beat last night. Mama's Pizza has your back. Feeding hungry Texans since 1968. They've won so many Best Pizza Awards, they stopped counting after a few thousand. Mama's delivers the crust that beats the spread every time. Look at that thing. You got the meat lovers there, and then on the right, the pepperoni. Look at the size of that crust. How big that thing is. It's awesome. Fresh ingredients, award-winning pies, flavor that's a guaranteed winner. And when it comes to pizza money, don't waste it on bad bets. Put it where it counts on a hot slice from Mama's. You've done an incredible job. Jordan said the response has been great. Franchise opportunities are available if you're thinking long-term. Check them out, mamaspizzas.net. mamaspizzas.net. Mama's Pizza, the only pick that always covers. And again, the Mama's Pizza on Instagram. Good stuff.
All right, so the one parlay that we really, really liked was the Golden Knights to win the West, the Cavaliers to win the East, and the Bills to win the AFC. That was at 102 to 1. Right now, I'm looking at around 90 to 1 that pays in that neighborhood.
All right. Good enough.
Again, conferences are key, in my opinion, here.
Can I interest you in Mama's Sub? The hot sub with pepperoni, Canadian bacon, American, and mozzarella cheese.
Of course. Do they also thrive in sandwiches?
Yeah. Says they're strong with sandwiches. They have wings, too. Yeah.
I'm a big sandwich guy.
Couple came in last week right from the airport from New York and said, we have to try your pie. We heard so much about it right from the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. Good job.
I think they were listening to the show. We'll go behind the counter. Jeff Sherman on the program next, Westgate Superbook. Their contests are up, $5,000 Survivor, and they take a lot of respected money. Where's it showing in the NBA future markets?